The rain came down hard that evening, soaking the streets of Seoul in a cold, relentless drizzle. People hurried along, umbrellas raised, heads down, no one noticing the young man crouched beneath the worn-out canopy of a closed noodle stall. His clothes were thin and damp, and the plastic bag beside him held all that he owned, a pair of socks, a second-hand phone with a cracked screen, and a small photograph of an older woman, his mother. Joon was 24. For as long as he could remember, life had been a fight. After his father disappeared when he was a child, his mother raised him alone, working long hours cleaning offices by night and serving in restaurants by day. They had dreams, the kind you whisper to each other in the dark, of saving enough to start a tiny eatery, of living in a home where the walls didn't leak and the electricity stayed on. But dreams, he learned, had a cruel way of slipping through your fingers. She died 2 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. She'd ignored the pain for too long because they couldn't afford the hospital bills. Joon had held her hand during her last breath in a charity hospital, her body too weak, her eyes still full of love. Since then, he drifted, odd jobs, sleeping in construction sites or subway stations, his only goal being to survive the next day. But something changed on that particular night. As Joon huddled in the cold, a black sedan pulled up to the curb nearby. A man in a suit stepped out and approached, holding an umbrella. "Are you Joon?" "Lee Joon?" he asked, speaking formally. Joon stood slowly, confused, guarded. "Yeah? Who wants to know?" The man bowed slightly. "I represent the Kong family. My name is Mr. Park. I'm here to take you home." "Home?" Joon scoffed. "You've got the wrong guy." But Mr. Park didn't flinch. He handed over a document, one that bore a name Joon recognized, Kang Dae-hyun. A powerful name. The billionaire tycoon who had passed away just 2 weeks earlier. Chairman of the massive Kang Group, a Chaebol that owned everything from electronics to real estate to hospitals. The man who ruled the economy from the shadows. "He was your father," Mr. Park said gently. "And he left instructions. You are his only heir." Joon laughed. "This is a scam." But he wasn't laughing the next morning, when he was in a private suite at the prestigious Kang estate. When DNA tests confirmed the truth. When he stood in front of a mirror wearing a tailored suit, barely recognizing the man staring back. They told him the story. How his father had fallen in love with a woman of low status, his mother. How the Kang family had forced them apart. How she ran away to protect her child from the life of cold boardrooms and bitter shareholders. How Dae-hyun had searched for them quietly for years, only to discover the truth of her death too late. His guilt had consumed him. And in his final act of defiance against his family's cruelty, he left everything. Not to his legitimate children, not to his board, but to Joon. The media exploded. News outlets scrambled for his story. The homeless heir. Street boy to billionaire. Cameras followed him everywhere. Joon didn't know how to speak their language, the language of high society, of mergers and markets and press releases. Board members sneered at him. His half-siblings threatened lawsuits. Social media mocked his past. But Joon didn't care about the wealth. He wanted answers. Why had his mother kept this from him? Why did his father never fight harder? Why now? He returned to the small, crumbling neighborhood he came from. Talked to the few elders who remembered his mother. One of them handed him a letter, sealed and fragile. It was from her, written long ago. In the letter, she explained everything. That she had loved his father but couldn't let her son grow up in a world that would never accept him. That she chose poverty because she believed love was worth more than gold. That she had never stopped praying he would find his way, even after she was gone. Joon cried like a child that night. He went back to the Kang estate and made a decision. He wouldn't sell the company. He wouldn't run away from the responsibility. Instead, he'd lead it, but on his own terms. He began with change. He visited the factories, talked to employees, from janitors to managers. He sold his personal mansion and used the money to build schools in underdeveloped neighborhoods. He raised the wages of the lowest-tier workers. He installed healthcare programs for the staff. The board hated him. Investors were unsure. But the people loved him. Over time, profits didn't fall, they rose. Because loyalty cannot be bought with fear, but built with kindness. Slowly, even the harshest critics began to see what he was trying to do. One day, Joon stood at a press conference, addressing the nation. "I was raised in the streets," he said, his voice steady. "I know what it's like to be hungry. To be invisible. My mother taught me that love is stronger than blood, stronger than money. She didn't have much, but she gave me everything. This company now belongs to every worker, every forgotten child, every dreamer who thinks they don't belong. I'm not here because I earned billions. I'm here because I was loved." The hall was silent. Then, applause erupted, some slow, others rising to their feet. And that night, in a quiet corner of his office, Joon placed his mother's photograph on the desk beside him. The desk where his father once sat. He smiled gently and whispered, "We made it, Mom." Because sometimes, the richest inheritance isn't money, but love, resilience, and the courage to change the world.